Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're making schnitzel. Now, if you've heard the name schnitzel before and you don't know what it is and you think it's like Wiener Schnitzel, so it's got to be a hot dog, you are wrong. So one man that's incredibly popular for making schnitzel is this guy over here, Wolfgang Puck. What is schnitzel? It's thinly sliced or thinly pounded meat, breaded and fried, and then covered with a delicious gravy. Today we're making pork schnitzel, but you can use chicken, you can use veal, you can use pretty much anything. Pound it flat, fry it crispy, cover it in gravy. Let's do it. But before we go, and as we get started, take a second to hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Click the like button because it boosts me up in the algorithm. And why not share it with your friends? Because this is delicious and everybody should make it. That's why. Let's do it.
So the first thing we're going to need to do is butterfly our pork cutlets. These are center cut, boneless pork loin chops, about an inch thick. You're going to slice it longitudinally and open it up. We're going to end up pounding this flat, so the flatter we can get it. Don't you just love good pork? I love you. We're going to get it lubed up with a little bit of oil. You can use any neutral tasting oil. You can use olive oil. The reason why you're doing this is so it doesn't stick to the bag we're going to put it in. We're going to use a zip top bag, so when we pound it, we're not flinging pork cutlet juice all over the kitchen. So get that into a zip top bag. Don't zip the top. That's a little tip with this one. As you're pounding it, you're going to be puffing air out. And if you leave it open, you don't have to worry about popping the bag or anything like that. So get it down. Take your meat mallet on the flat side and pound it out. If you have the that circular type with the handle in the middle, that works fine. You don't want to use the spiked side because you don't want to poke holes in this. You just want to get it as thin as possible. Look at you dirty dog sitting here watching me pound my meat. But I'm pounding meat that's going to be delicious, so get it nice and thin. Check for any high spots. Thin is key. Try to keep the mallet as flat as possible as you're pounding. And pound on a cutting board, not directly on your granite countertop, so you will chip them. Look how thin that is. That is what you want. Super thin. When we fry it up, it's going to get super crispy. Beautiful. Standard 3-part breading station, flour, egg, breadcrumbs. You can use all-purpose flour. Some people like to use cornstarch. It doesn't have to be seasoned. Just you want to get flour on it so the egg sticks to the flour and then the breadcrumbs stick to the egg. How much of each you use is determined by how big your dishes are and how many cutlets you're going to fry up. I probably should have used a little bit of a bigger breadcrumb pan. You'll see that in a second. And probably egg pan, this way it lays in flat. It's really, they come out, they spread out so wide, so it's really hard unless you have like huge dishes to get it. But get it covered in the egg schmeg, then your breadcrummies. You can use any kind of breadcrumbs. You can use panko, you can use seasoned breadcrumbs, you can use pork panko if you want to have like a porkception cutlets. You can use that. I prefer to use seasoned breadcrumbs from a company that's a letter and a number. I'm sorry, a number and a letter. That's my personal favorite, but they didn't pay, so I'm not naming them. Get your frying pan. You want a pan big enough for the cutlet to fit in. And you want to put just enough oil where it comes to the just bare top of it. Again, these are super thin, so that's not even a lot of oil. You want to press record before you put it in, so get your pork in there. It only takes a few minutes to cook. It's super thin, so the meat's going to cook fast. All we're worrying about is getting a nice crust on it. Getting those breadcrumbs nice and crispy and toasty. So once the bottom has achieved proper darkness, look at that. Come on, there we go. Once it's achieved proper toastiness, then you flip it, and when the bottom matches the top, it's done. Take it out. We're going to put it onto a rack so it can drip off, and then we're going to put that into an oven to stay warm. Look at that. Don't devour it yet, it's too hot. We're gonna dump out the excess oil in the pan, then we're gonna add our onions. That's about 2 medium onions in there. You can use as much or as little as you like. As far as the gravy goes, you can use as much or as little of the vegetation as you like. Start sweating your onions down, then add your mushrooms and get them sweated down. Make sure you have enough oil in the pan to start. And then as they're starting to caramelize, you'll see a fond start to grow on the bottom of the pan. You can use a little bit of your stock to make that dissolve, and that's flavor. I talk about it all the time. Anytime there's something I'm doing that has fond, that fond is flavor. That's not burnt pieces. That is Maillard reaction deliciousness. Gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. Let that melt. That's gonna give us some body and obviously some flavor because fat is delicious. And as you're gonna let the water reduce and then add some more liquid. So make it dry, then make it wet. And you're just gonna keep on adding your stock. And we're not using any flour or cornstarch or anything to thicken this. We're letting this thicken up by just natural reduction of the stock and the sugars and the vegetation. So add a little bit of stock, let it reduce, add stock, let it reduce. And then by the end, we're gonna have a beautiful dark caramelized sauce that's just gonna be perfect on the pork. Let it come to a boil, and again, just let it reduce. Look at that. That is some delicious sauce. Add pepper. Be very careful about adding salt until the very end because your stock's gonna have salt. You don't wanna over salt. Now I'll plate it up, get some gravy on there. Again, I like my gravy more chunky than liquid, so that's how I make it. You can cut back on how much you reduce it. That's up to you. We'll add some green, and it is perfect. Delicious.
So since pork is one of my favorite vegetables, I'm gonna dig in. I'm so excited. Some of that on there. It's crispy. Hang on. You can hear it, it's crispy. I love cooking food that I get so excited for. This is so good. You gotta try it. All right, so now you know how to make it. It's absolutely delicious. Check it out for yourselves. Change it up, do it with veal, do it with chicken, whatever you want to do it with is gonna come out beautifully delicious. If you have any suggestions of something you want to see me make, drop it down in the comments. If you have something to say, you like this, you don't like this, I did something wrong, hey, correct me, it's cool. Drop it down in the comments. And again, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again for watching Sugar, Salt, Fat, and Booze. We'll catch you on the next one.